Part 2 of, 15? Something like that, this one's going to be. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this or these or both. It's some more Q&A. We haven't... If you can see where my cursor is on the list of questions, it's so close to the bottom, it's not even funny. So, with that said, let's get on with this, shall we? Before we go on, thanks to everyone who either has asked me a question or who's watched part 1 of this. Thank you very much. It means a lot. So, Scene Play 101 says... I think this could be 4 hours, your biggest Q&A yet. Anyway, my question, given that you review every WWE pay-per-view after it airs, that's a really good question actually. What does this mean for the 10 Years Ago series? Surely you'll get to the point where you've already reviewed shows like the Royal Rumble 2010, for example. Will you simply review them again, or end the series and just review those you haven't reviewed, like Vengeance 2001? I'm going to review Vengeance 2001 in December. That's just a given, because I really want these. I want the lost shows done. So Survivor Series 2001, Vengeance 2001, and if I get time, and I doubt I will, but if I get time, Rebellion 2001 as well. You've got a great point there. At the end of the day, if nothing else, if I can keep going with one thing and one thing only, I'm going to try and keep going with the 10 Years Ago series. If I literally make one vid a month, the 10 Years Ago series is going to keep going. It's the vids that I derive the most pleasure out of making, because it's great to go back to read, because of course I've got 10, 12 years worth of Power Slams, so it's great to go back to that particular Power Slam, read what storylines were happening there. If they've got a review, see what they thought of it at the time, see if I disagree with or agree with them. It's very, very interesting for me to go back and watch a pay-per-view that I may have only watched one time. Like the one coming up next, Armageddon 2003, was the one that I got messed up with last year, and that was the one that wasn't broadcast over here in England, so I've never seen it. So that's going to be a genuinely interesting thing to watch. I like watching stuff I've never seen before. Or, sometimes it depends what context it's in. In WCW's case, it's not, because I didn't have a clue what was happening at the time. But it's, if I've still just go for a little one. If I had more time, I would watch Nitro and Thunder and the WCW pay-per-views. I guarantee that much. I just don't have the time. I'm not a person who can sit and watch wrestling for hours at a time. It's why it takes me a long time to do shows. For example, right now, as I'm recording this, it is Tuesday afternoon, right? This week, I've got to watch and review Survivor Series 1997. I'm going to start that tomorrow. I'll probably watch the first 2 or 3 matches, and then I'm going to do something else. Because for one thing, my missus really doesn't like watching wrestling, and doesn't like wrestling at all. So I feel proper ignorant sitting watching wrestling, doing something that she doesn't like. I'm doing it. But anyway, that's by the by, isn't it? I'm just saying that's why it takes me a long time to do shows. Anyway, the point is, with the 10 Years Ago series, let's bring this one back in. To catch myself up on my old channel would have to take up to 2007, wouldn't it? But realistically, as you said, Royal Rumble 2010, something around there, that's where we'll catch ourselves up. The thing is, that's 6 years away. Now, if you think about it, that if, some of these shows that I've reviewed as part of the 10 Years Ago series, I remember watching at the time and absolutely loving. But time hasn't been very, very kind to them, So you go back and watch them a second time and your opinion's completely different. So and it is a massive if I'll be fucking 37 then, do you think that a 37-year-old man should still be reviewing wrestling on YouTube? Do you think that a 31-year-old man should realistically? I didn't think when I started doing this all those years ago that at age 31 I'd still be doing this, it's one of those things. At the end of the day, to answer your question once and for all, I honestly don't know, because it's so far away in the future. I know that I didn't, when I started this in 2010, I didn't think that the 10 Years Ago series would still be going on, would still be popular. It is. People seem to really like watching it, so sometimes. So if you saw part 1, you'll know what I mean by that. To answer your question, I don't know. We'll see when we get there. How's that sound? Bit of a long question. Learn to freestyle. We should all learn to freestyle, shouldn't we? Hey Mark, love your vids, been subscribed to you for a couple of years. Would be interested to hearing what about your future plans with your YouTube channel as you've stepped up your game this year. Thank you very much. You're talking about getting a studio, a green screen and that type of thing. Cheers. Thank you for saying I've stepped up my vids this year. started doing all my vids in HD. I've said on the part one, I feel this year my vids have been the best they've ever been, because my reviews are not just waffle about, then this move happened, then this move happened, then this move happened, then this move happened. We still get a bit of that, and I like to do that in my main events, especially if they involve either Kurt Angle or Triple H for obvious reasons. But regarding the studio, what I've always wanted to do is have a green screen background, because that way I can bring up pictures or clips of things to edit into the thing, and it will make it look better. It'll make it a little bit more professional. One of the things that people knock me for is having cutlery behind me. I'm in my kitchen. At the end of the day, if you've got to, right, hang on. Hear it? Go on, place your bets now. Fire, ambulance, or police car, because this is important. Hold your horses. Go on, where is it? It's there, coming down the hill. It's a police car. Oh yeah, right there. Various times in the last couple of years I've wanted to move house. I don't like living in Stoke-on-Trent at all. And I've always said that if and when I move, because it's more of a when than an if, I would like to have at least a portion of my bedroom made into a green screen studio. I'd really like that. I really would. Regarding the future, I just don't know, because bloody hell, please go away. God, that's really properly thrown me, that is. Sorry, must reply to this. I'm very ignorant. I do apologise for that. Yeah. Regarding it's technology, right? The reason I was thinking about that is I just wanted to say that I record on my Nokia N8 phone. It's got a 12 megapixel camera. It records, the Q&A part one, was 4 gigabytes. Let's put it that way. When edited down, that was down to about 2 gigabytes. You don't want to be anything less than that, though. You lose too much of the HD quality, yeah? I've got a big, powerful camera that sits there and is massive and it looks incredible. It looks brilliant, but the flip side is the upload times must be so massive. And I've got an internet connection which has got really fast downloads, but piss-takingly slow uploads. That part one of the Q&A took 6 hours to upload a 2 gigabyte file. 6 hours, And it's just, you look at that and just go, I don't want that. I don't want anything more than that. It's bad enough that my vids on average take 2 hours to upload. That's a long time to sit. When I'm uploading, for example, I can't go on Xbox Live because the upload is taking that much of my data that it just makes my Xbox Live crash, which is wonderful. So you sit there, that upload just has to takes precedence of everything. And I don't want bigger files, meaning that is a longer process. Q&As like this, it's one of the reasons why I don't do them, because hour-long videos at a pop mean massive, massive files. At the moment, I'm happy doing it as I am. I like it, I like the set, I like the wrestling posters, I like having Dave Rain saying, I'm Mark's #1 fan behind me. That's always makes me chuckle. Whenever I come in this room, it's like, always makes me smile. I like it how it is at the moment, is what I'll say. Next. Ask me questions. Original ECW TV. Now, I don't understand this question because it kind of sounds like a diss, but we'll go with it. It says, how come you have never cut your hair? Usually, people who cut their hair, who have had it a long time, look better for it. Even in the wrestling business, like people like Edge, Christian, CM Punk, Big Show, to name but a few. I hear you on that one. My hair, my wonderful dreadlocks, are getting close to 12 years old now, these are. But, and here's the thing, why have I never cut my hair? And this is going to sound like an unusual thing to say, but I don't notice them, is the truth. Think about it. If you wear a wristwatch, which you'll notice I don't, but if you wear a wristwatch, you put it on and you're aware of it, yeah? And then you probably forget all about it, don't you? Until you check the time, you forget you've even got a watch on, wouldn't you? I'm like that with my dreads. I can feel them, if I'm thinking about it, on my lower back, where they rest on my back, yeah? I can feel them there, but only if I think about them. So, I've never had a reason to. And I asked Dave Rain about 6 months ago, I'm at the age I'm almost 31, should I fucking cut this dreads? I think, no, you shouldn't. It's your gimmick, is what he said. I'm the guy with the dreads. And, it's an easily identifiable thing, and I like that. I mean, I was going to cut them off when they were 10 years old, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I can't imagine what it'd be like. And so many of them have fallen out recently. At least 10 this year have fallen out, have actually snapped in place and come out, which has actually made them look a lot better, I think. But at the same time, my hair is doing this at the moment. It goes through phases, my hair does. It goes through fluffy, like this, and then all these turns dreads. And then for about a year, I've got just the most perfect hair. And then this happens again. And it's like, right. It's very frustrating, but at the same time, you know it's worth it in the end, you know? So, I mean, I don't want to. It's the truth. I just don't want to. Weird Content 303 asked a question that I kind of can't answer. What are your favourite WWF, NWA, and AWA pay-per-views, supercards of the 1980s? Name 2 or 3 from each company. Now, the AWA, I've never seen. I've never seen any AWA. Only on, documentaries or you've got to watch this match sort of thing. Something like from the Shawn Michaels DVD, there's AWA footage like that. I've never really seen. The Rise and Fall of the AWA DVD. I think I've seen. Is that the one? Or is there one? There's one about the AWA. I forget what it's called. So I can't really answer that one. From the WWF. WrestleMania 5 springs to mind, just for its main event. The first thing you see on that show is Macho Man cutting a promo, ripping Hogan to bits, and it's so good. But I mean, honestly, I don't really have any particular ones that stand out as favourites. I mean, the WCW run in general on pay-per-view for '89, which you'll see Coal Miner's Glove go on at me about all the time. He's desperate for me to review, and all I can say is one day, maybe, if I run out of things to review. It's like, right, let's do 89 now, shall we? Do a series about 89 in WCW, and at the end of it, do a conclusion that it'll be just me. Minigunny, I'm very sorry. But to answer your question, I can't really answer your question, I'm afraid. I haven't really got 80s. I remember the 80s, and I've seen a lot of it back on tape, but there's not really a lot that really... It's not like you compared to the 90s or the 2000s that are just like, right, I can tell you 15 pay-per-views, bam, 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 Vasectomy, is that vasotomy? What are your thoughts on the Beyond the Mat documentary, Vince McMahon's reaction to it, where he essentially denied existence, trying to get pulled, got UPN and USA, not networks, not advertised. I think it's fantastic. It's really, really great. I've got it on video, VHS in there, which means I haven't seen it for a while. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to watch in places, isn't it? I mean, when you've got Royal Rumble 99 and Foley's family are in the front row, I mean, that's parenting gone wrong, in my opinion. That's really, really bad. But I mean, I really like it. I think Vince McMahon, it was a classic. I think he probably did that because of the backlash he got from Wrestling with Shadows. Because, of course, Wrestling Shadows was a fantastic documentary. It's on Netflix. I recommend it. If you've never seen it, go and give it a watch. But even the most fervent Bret Hart hater, or the biggest Shawn Michaels supporter like I would, well, you sympathise with Bret because it's all on, it's portrayed in such a way that obviously Vince comes across as a complete prick in it. I think the backlash they got from that made Vince very wary about the Beyond the Mat stuff. And then at the end of the day, the bit where he gets Droz to puke on camera makes him look like a complete knobhead. So I can see in some respects why they tried to pull it down, but at the same time, what I'll say is it's a great documentary, but at the same time, there are bits of it that are hard to watch. The stuff with Jake Roberts is just heart-wrenching, his daughter, and which one of the reasons why when I was into DDP yoga earlier on this year, I've got to confess that I proper fell out. Not fell out of it, I just stopped doing it. Couldn't get my motivation to. I'm going to start again in the new year because I know that it works. That's the thing. The motivation should be, but it works and it was working for you and you lost weight and everyone told you you look great. But I just, it's a long story as to why I stopped. I basically kept injuring myself doing it. I was doing it too much. Anyway, the great thing about get back to point, Marc, DDP yoga and Jake doing it is that you see that they've reformed their relationship. That's fantastic. But yeah, it's really good. I mean, seeing little people on there, when Spike Dudley appears on there, and I think it's a great document. In fact, I might even watch it after I finish filming this. I have to get a new copy of it first. But yeah, that's by the way. Tom Davies says, "Have you read?" spelled R-E-D. Sorry, gotta be done. Hardcore Holly's book. I know that you're interested in wrestling books. I thought it was pretty good. He buries the Click amongst others. I haven't, no. In fact, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I didn't realise he'd done a book. Is the truth. Mouse King 22 says, WWE have done a couple of throwback shows in the past paying homage to the old school wrestlers. They are acknowledging the Attitude Era more and more. Would they have do an Attitude Era Raw is War show? It would sorry, Mouse King, your spelling's very, very poor, so it's making it run. Right, let's try again. It would most likely pull a good rating and feature some of the Attitude Era stars. He says, check this out, it's brilliant. Is this who you'd like to see, by the way? Because it starts off good and then really tapers off. So it's Foley, Austin, Rock, Triple H, DX. Too Cool and Rikishi. Would you like to see them again? APA. You know, the way we live, APA. And the Mean Street Posse. I mean, would you pop for Pete Gas coming out? I'm amazed they haven't done an Attitude Era reunion Raw type thing with more of the old school stars. And the thing is, of course, most of these guys would have been off TV for a good 10 years. I mean, Brian Christopher will not be good these days. I don't want to see either of those two or Rikishi, if I'm honest. But at the end of the day, they were an important part of the Attitude Era, so I suppose they would have to be in there. Hey, Mean Street Posse, though, no. I think it should be done. And at the end of the day, it's one of those things that surely has got to be done sooner rather than later. You know? Next, French Budoke fan? Hey Brosiv, since you just got WWE 2K14, are you going to upload any vids of it? I would like to see it. Even seeing you playing some of the older games will be cool, like season mode and stuff. Anyway, thanks for the videos. Keep up the pace. Your stuff is bomb.com. Lol. I won't be uploading any 2K14 videos. Let me tell you something nice and simple. I can say this because the guy who is going to be getting them doesn't watch my videos. My copy is a Christmas present for someone else. It's that simple. I played it about twice a week. I'm basically doing the 30 years WrestleMania mode. I'm up to WrestleMania 10 at the moment. It shows how much I'm playing it. And yeah, so basically I won't have the game much longer. So I won't be doing things like that. Sorry. It just, do you know, I actually play so much No Mercy at the moment that I've been watching some of the old IWF vids to think, do you know, it could be fun to bring that back because it was fun. And I hadn't realised just how many episodes there was of it. I saw episode 19, like, bloody Christ, we did that many. And pay-per-views as well. The problem with doing No Mercy is, of course, is that it's impossible to do storylines. If you just want a wrestling promotion that's just wrestling, that's your lot. And your promotion is built on storylines that are, this guy interfered in my match, so we're having a match. And then this guy interfered in my match, so we're having a match. That's as much as you can do with the IWF. It would be fun than that, wouldn't it? I've still got all the logos and stuff. It's just the actual wrestlers I'd have to do. Next, Spinning X, one fan. Back when Kane wore a mask during the Attitude Era, during the Attitude Era. Come on. During the Attitude Era, what did he do in terms of making sure people did not know it was him? Do you know what he looked like back then, or was it well hidden? Well, I saw, interviews and publicity appearances where he wore the mask. So, I can assume that's what he did backstage and all that. I think everyone knew who he was. If you knew who he was, aka Glenn Jacobs, the man behind the character, if you knew that he was the Unabomber, or more importantly, Isaac Yankem, you knew what he looked like. It was that simple. So when he pulled his mask off, it wasn't really that much of a surprise. It was more the fact that he wasn't burned. Because of course, when they pulled the mask off in 2003, you're expecting him to be burned. So you want the intrigue was to see what they'd done with his face to make him up, because it's going to have to be something that you can do every single week without, oh wait, they didn't do anything at all. But yeah, I think if you knew of those, what did you if you knew of those characters? It was in Smoky Mountain, I think he played. I think it was the Unabomber. Shall we check? Let's have a look. We can do this because we've got a computer with internet connection right in front of me. Check this out. Let's have a look at Glenn. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh, I'm funny. I spelled his name wrong as well because I'm just that funny. Kane. Come on. I just want to check this because I want to see if I'm right, is the truth. Early career, Doomsday, and the Unabomber in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Yeah! I get things wrong quite a lot, but that one we're not wrong about. Yeah, boy. That's what we like. Oh, shit. Next, the Enge one. The Nage one? Do you watch NXT? Thoughts on it? I watch NXT every so often. It's one of those shows that I should watch more, but I don't. And I feel almost ashamed of myself for that. Because so many people tell me that it's really good to watch because the wrestlers on there aren't polished very much, but you watch them week in, week out getting better and better and better, and then they get onto the main roster. So I should watch it. Basically, let's put it this way. If you go on social media and you see on Twitter or you see on Facebook that someone, that there's been an amazing match, then I'll tune in. comfortably, you know. And I'll normally not just watch that one match. I'll watch the whole show. But like I say, I feel bad for not watching more of it. Is the truth. Would you rather watch a pay-per-view with Spaz Phoenix or watch a 60-minute Iron Man match between The Miz and Shark Boy? Well, bearing in mind the logistical difficulties of watching a pay-per-view with Spaz Phoenix, it would be interesting, wouldn't it? Because I've said before in Biz, this guy used to kiss my ass something rotten. So I reckon what would be the case is, well, he's the big I am on behind the keyboard. I reckon he would be on his fucking knees in front of me if I was there in front of him. I'm sorry, Mark. I'm so sorry. I'm your biggest fan. Yada, yada, yada. I'd watch the Iron Man match, because at the end of the day, if you've got Miz in there and Shark Boy could be kicking his ass for 60 minutes. Happy days. Matt Glenn says, this is the best I could come up with. Right before WrestleMania 15, what was the point in having Road Dogg win the IC title and Billy Gunn win the Hardcore title? Dogg had been feuding in the Hardcore division for months, and Gunn had been feuding in the IC division for months. What was the point in pushing these guys in matches on the biggest show of the year, defending the titles against guys they had no heat with or existing storylines with? I'm sure Russo was behind this, trying to shake things up, but it left the matches flat and boring, and one of the reasons why this WrestleMania is one of the worst ever. If I'd done WrestleMania 15 as part of my 1999 sub show, which I assume I didn't, because I've just doubted myself just for a second there, I would have said exactly that. I would have ranted about this very statement. I remember Hannah Banana Bob having a conversation with me years ago when she did her WrestleMania 15 review. If you listen to what she says on that, about this, it's taken straight out of my mouth, because it's one of those things that just baffles me. It's like you say, they had two storylines going along, nice and happy, everyone's going good, and then for reasons that only Vince Russo knows, they swapped the two guys round, and it meant you have two matches, like you said, on the card that you had no reason at all to give a shit about. And at WrestleMania, of all places, WrestleMania 15 is not a very good show. I will state that to anyone. The only good match is the main event, in my opinion, and even that isn't that wonderful, especially if you compare it to the next one, Backlash 99. Rock Austin was way better, and of course 2 years later, how incredible it was. Rock looked very nervous on the night. Austin didn't look right coming out in a t-shirt and not his waistcoat, yada yada yada. But the match itself was the classic Attitude Era match, brawn in the crowd and weapons and guest referee and all that. That is one of those things that I think, honestly, Vince Russo is the only person who can answer that question. It's one of those things, you're completely right, it's so stupid, it makes no sense whatsoever. At Heel Ziggler, which is an interesting one, because of course Dolph Ziggler's Twitter handle is at Heel Ziggler. Anyway, what would you do if you were working on a show with someone like Cole? Would you make a tit of him and be unprofessional, or put up with his idiocy? Also, I hear Cole calls a scoop slam a power slam in the new game, although I can't confirm it. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, man. If Cole does that, that's so stupid. Anyway, a bit of both? Nah, I'd be completely 100% professional. I'd do what I've done with my colour commentators that I worked with in the past. And that's, if they say something that just go, you just roll your eyes and go, for goodness sake, whatever, man. There are times when they say something that is that stupid that you just turn to them and go, do you actually believe what's coming out of your mouth, or are you just saying it because you like the sound of your own voice? That's something that you throw up as a desperation, like, will you please shut up and concentrate on the bloody match, sort of thing. No, Michael Cole, I assume Michael Cole would be a play-by-play, because I wouldn't want him to be heel, would he? So yeah, I will be professional with anyone. If I'm working on a show with them, it doesn't matter how much I dislike them, how much I like them, how much I dislike them. I treat them exactly the same. I will be a professional, always. Mrs. Dawson asks who in British wrestling to consider signing with WWE, which we answered on part 1. Dean Couch says, what are the consequences of jumping the guardrail at a wrestling event? I hear unless you touch on the wrestlers, you're all right and you end up with a fine. Any info on this? Now, I don't know. I've never seen it happen on a Brit show, believe it or not. But in America, if you get into the ring, you are fair game. Literally, they can do whatever they want to you. So the wrestlers will bat you. And I've seen it on many, many shows. Both in the WWF and WCW. Once you get in the ring, you're fair game. And literally, the wrestlers should try and get you out of the ring as fast as possible, because at the end of the day, you could either hurt someone or you could get hurt. But at the same time, You know, when I say you could get hurt, if you try a wrestling move on someone, but yeah, 9 times out of 10, what I've seen is, you know, fair game, and the wrestler will take one big punch at him and swing and knock him on their ass, and then the security guards, referee, another wrestler will get them out of the ring. I've never heard of them being fined. I mean, ejected out of the building, but probably banned from WWE's, but fines, no, I've never heard of that one. Mr. JWC 1987 says, "Hey Mark, great vids by the way, keep them coming. My question is, how much do wrestlers overbill their height and weight by? I've heard it can be as much as 4 inches and 60 pounds. It's interesting that one because I'm thinking Andre the Giant is the prime example. Andre was billed as a lot taller than he actually was. If you look at his interviews when he, you know, from the 80s with Vince, you'll see that Andre's on a box to make him a good foot taller than he actually is. And it's only when you just got to look at the Hogan versus Andre match, because Hogan is quite a fucking tall guy, isn't he? And Andre isn't that much taller than him. It's one of those things. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, it makes him seem more impressive, I suppose. But I don't know. It's one of those things. I can't answer your question because I don't know how much it varies. Is the truth. Okay, I'm really sorry about that, but it's been happening in the business forever. You know, it makes someone sound more impressive if to say that they're 6'5" instead of 6 foot. It makes someone sound more impressive if they're 225 pounds of chiseled muscle instead of just 200 pounds. You know. Realistically, I'm sure to most fans it doesn't make a jack shit of difference. You know, if you come in and you're 6 foot, yeah, your build is 6'5" and actually 6 foot, and you're a shit wrestler, I'm sure it doesn't matter how tall you are, does it? And sure as fuck doesn't matter to me. What do you think? Next, Raymond Sumter. My God, we're still not getting through these, are we? Raymond, how long have I been talking for as well? I have no idea. Raymond Sumter says, "Hey Mark, I have 2 questions for you. Where do you see yourself wrestling-wise in 10 years? And do you think a company could grow to be a global competition to the WWE? Maybe a Brit company that could reach across the ocean and gain appeal in the US? And thanks for what you're doing. Love your vids." Thank you very much, Raymond. Myself, I have no idea. No idea at all. I really don't know. I would like to say that I will be the face of British wrestling. Or I'll be known as the voice of British wrestling. That obviously is a dream. That a very, very tiny little dream that I've got. I am quite comfortable where I am. I've worked for 2 companies this year, and you know, there's been good and bad from both. You know, I don't know. It's the truth. I'll either be one of the 2 things. I think I'll either be one or the other. I will either be the voice of British wrestling, or I will have completely given up on British wrestling and just gone, you know, fuck British wrestling. Just fuck it. I mean, there have been so many days, you know, where you say, oh, fuck this shit. And then I bumped into Keith Meyer in a supermarket recently, and he was saying that for all the shit you go through in the business, there are days where it is so good that it makes up for all of it. And I know that, you know, I know that. Yeah, one of those 2, I reckon. Across the pond says he's going to send me some questions 2 days ago and hasn't bothered. Cheers, James. I've asked this question to people before. I'd like to hear your opinion on my idea. Do you think WWE should hire the Briscoe brothers out of ROH to be in the Wyatt family? I think they would be a perfect fit. Your thoughts? Michael Falsely. Well, I mean, Briscoes, yeah. I think that'd be great because of the accents they've got, and one of them's got, Mark's got no teeth. And yeah, at the end of the day, they've done everything there is to do in Ring of Honor, haven't they? Everything there is to do. Well, apart from be the champion, and Jay's done that now. So, I mean, I said a couple of years ago Briscoe should sign for WWE because for that very reason. They've done everything there is to do in Ring of Honor. What's the point in staying? You know, I understand it's home and it's where you made your careers, where you made your start. I get that, genuinely. But what else is there left to do? And, you know, you're going to get to the point where big fish, small ponds sort of sit there, you know, flopping around doing nothing at all. Wyatt family, what better? What better place? I can't think of anywhere better for them to go straight in. Wyatt family, make them 5. Why the fuck not? Dean M. I didn't say it was by Michael Falsely, didn't I? Sorry if I didn't. Dean M says, "Hi Mark, what do you think is an ideal age for a superstar to break into wrestling in general and into the mainstream? Love the vids, long may they continue." Ideal age for a superstar to break into wrestling in general and into the mainstream. Not quite sure what you mean by that one. I think you should get an education. before you even consider being a wrestler, is what I'll say. That way, you've got something to fall back on. You know, if you come out of university, for example, and go, right, now that's done, time to be a wrestler, that's fucking superb. Because if your dreams don't come through, and let's be honest, let's be brutally honest here, chances are you will fail. You know, you won't make it as a professional wrestler. If you're all right, you'll get on some British shows, maybe. Let's say, for argument's sake, or some indie shows. Sorry, but the chances of you getting to the WWE are so minute that you need something to fall back on. So I would say, if nothing else, get an education. For regards of mainstream wrestling, I would say, unless they're particularly good, I think you should have 5 years of experience. So I'd say 25. I'd say go to university, come out of university at 20, 21, something like that. Wouldn't know. Never went. Too stupid. Fucked off my college for girls and football. Therefore, I am stupid. Doesn't matter. I'm intelligent. I am, does it? I am stupid. Anyway, so yeah, go to university and then spend 5 years working on the indies before even thinking about trying to get to WWE. So you're 25. You know, that way you've got a mature head on your shoulders and you'll have had experience and you've paid your dues. How's that sound? That sound fair? Cool. Glad that you answered that one. Andy Lou, have you ever been to the United States of America? If you had, what did you like and dislike about the States? I have never been to America. I've wanted to go to America for a long, long time, but of course it costs a lot of money to get to America, and I wouldn't know where to go or what to do. What I've always wanted to do is go to the west coast of America, hire a car, and then drive to the east coast. I must have, subscribers in America. The majority of my subscribers, by a big load, is in the United Kingdom. You know, people in the United Kingdom can understand what I'm saying a lot more easily with this accent. You know, but I must have subscribers in America. I must. And what I've always and then I know there's people like I mentioned before, Coal Miner's Glove, who I just would love to go and stay with for a week. You know, so I'd like to start at one end and basically work my way across the country and visit loads of people and go to as many indie shows as I possibly can. I'd like to go to a Ring of Honor show. I'd like to go to a TNA show. I'd like to go to WWE house shows and see if there's any difference between what they put on over here and what they... I'd love to go to another pay-per-view. I've only ever been to one pay-per-view, so I'd love to actually go to a proper pay-per-view. I'd love to go to a WrestleMania just to say that I have, even if the tickets are ludicrously expensive. Absolutely ludicrously expensive. You know? But... yeah, it's just the expense of it. It's the expense. It's that to do the other thing I really want to do in America is, before I go on, is I am a massive Harry Potter fan. The fact that the Harry Potter Wizarding World is in America is fucking downright disgraceful. For example, in my opinion, for films that were written by an English person, were filmed in England and Scotland or the United Kingdom. You know, but the Wizarding World is in America. That doesn't make sense in my eyes. So I would love to go there for the day. Yeah, it's all just on cost, I'm afraid. It's all on cost. The DJ Head 13 says, thoughts on the ICW promotion in Glasgow. When people say to me, what's the best promotion in the United Kingdom? I say, based on money, because this is a business at the end of the day, and a business exists to make money, does it not? When they say to me, who's the best? I say ICW. They must be. A show of theirs recently had 1,000... fans are 1,000 people at a British wrestling show. That, friends, is incredible. FSM readers voted them the best fed in this country last year over PCW, for example, who I thought would win it hands down, easily, landslide victory. They came second. You know, ICW were the ones. The problem is they're based in Glasgow, I think, aren't they? That's way too far for me to drive for a wrestling show, so I'd have to get a hotel, and of course that's just more expense on top. I've done big road trips twice now for wrestling shows. I went to St Neots for one, and I went to Morecambe for one. And the thing is, there's a bit of you in the back of your mind that won't let you enjoy the show as much as you can, or as much as you could, knowing that you've got a 4-hour drive after the show's finished to get home. You know, and it's horrible. That is. So I'd have to stay in a hotel, which makes it more expensive. Let's put it this way. In 2014, I want to go to NGW up in Hull, because I always hear incredible things about that, especially from the talent. And I want to go really badly to ICW. Oh, God, yes, I do. Next. We've talked about that. N3 Jarvis talked about Daniel Bryan and SummerSlam Buy Rate, which Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Don't know where that came from. Do you ever hear me snorting? Yeah, to stop that. Because I've got really bad sinuses. I can't help it. It's one of those things I do subconsciously. I just snort, get all the shit out of my lungs. It's disgusting. I don't know how you put up with it, is the truth. But honestly, let me tell you now, let me just make that film clear. I can't help it. Next, Trent Nathan Andrews says, my question is, what is the best event you have ever been part of? And now I asked him underneath, working at or part of the crowd, and he didn't answer. So I'll go with both. So to be part of the crowd, the best show that I've ever been to was the first Dragon Gate show that I went to in 2011 in Nottingham. Top to bottom, the best wrestling show I've ever been to by a kilometre. Not a bad match, incredible crowd, and I saw the two best matches I've ever seen. Not just in person, but in wrestling in general. Pac versus Dragon Kid was the first one. Straight 5 stars, incredible match. Watch it back now. See, I've seen it 100 times on DVD. I've watched it back. I can still love it. And it had a Shingo versus Yokozuna 3 was the main event, and that was the best match I've ever seen. To work at, recently GPW celebrated its 10th anniversary show, and I can't put into words how much of an honour that to work on that show was. I mean, I'm just a little nobody who does YouTube videos. I've got no experience in commentary or anything like that. I'm not even a particularly good commentator, I don't feel. But I worked on this company that's been going for 10 years. I was their play-by-play guy. That was the most incredible, most humbling thing I've ever been part of. That was, and the place was absolutely heaving as well. It was so rammed. I still got booed. I get booed at every GPW show, by the way. I don't know why. So yeah, that's those two. Ben Killy says, top 5 WWE pay-per-views of all time. Also, love the biz, dude. Stayed with you way back since your backyard wrestling days. Bloody Christ, that's a long time. Thank you, Ben. Top 5. Well, we all know the top 3. The top 3 are always are never going to change. They are WrestleMania 17, In Your House Canadian Stampede, and Backlash 2000. All right, those are my top 3. They will never ever change, and that's where the problem comes in, because number 4 changes by the week. So SummerSlam 2002, for example, is a show that springs to mind, and Royal Rumble 2001, and Royal Rumble 2000. You know, shows like that just sort of rotate. It all depends on what day it is. But that's what SummerSlam 2000. Royal Rumble 2000 was a 9.5 out of 10 kind of show. And I love that show with a passion. So shows like that, just think about a really great show. And the thing is, you notice that from 97 to 2001. That's my biggest fandom. There's nothing since. ECW One Night Stand 05, I suppose, was a really good show, and WrestleMania 19 was a good show, and stumped then. I can't. Of all the pay-per-views there's been, I can't think of one other one. Matthew Robinson says, what do you think of some of the best botches ever? Now, this is an interesting one. When you say best, if I think of a best botch, I think of something that's gone wrong, but they've managed to turn it into something that looks even better. Does that make sense? Because if you think of best botch as someone getting hurt, that's no good. So you don't want to be laughing at someone getting hurt, even if it is funny. The way they've fucked up. If they've hurt themselves, you should never laugh at a wrestler who's hurt themselves. If they're giving their bodies to entertain you, that's not funny, is it? So I don't really know what you mean by that question, I'm afraid. If I do a question Q&A again, can you ask me that again and clarify? Mets 2128. Incidentally, Mets 2128, you won the WWE 2K14 disc originally, but when we found out you're American, so we couldn't send it you. We had to redraw it. Interesting. This question, though, dude, I don't know what you want me to answer this with, right? Check this out. I know you've pretty much stopped watching Ring of Honor events, so he pretexts it with that, prefaces it with that. I know you don't watch Ring of Honor, but at least tell me, what was your opinion of the way Nigel McGuinness, what was your opinion of the way Nigel McGuinness has been running ROH since Cornette left? And you just look at that question and go, how the fuck do I answer that? I don't watch Ring of Honor at all. And what was my opinion, not is, I don't even know who's booking it nowadays. That literally, you saying that, Nigel McGuinness has been running ROH since Cornette left. Yeah? Cornette's left. Actually, I knew that because I read his page. I read his he does a column on FSM magazine, so I read that. But I didn't know Nigel McGuinness was booking it. Let's put it that way. To answer your question, No idea. I literally do not watch it. I haven't watched it. Whenever the Steen versus Generico match was, it was a final battle. Might have been 2011, 2012. I don't know which year it was. That was the last Ring of Honor I watched. I cannot answer that question. Next. Do you think Princess Peach is a trump? Something delirious said to play at Uno during a tag match against each other in Chikara back in 2008. Princess Peach is a hoe. Nice and simple. Your princess is in the other castle. Is she now? What are your favourite wrestling moves? Oh, in order. Top 3, all right? 2 of them are pretty much identical moves as well. But, okay. In 1 is a tiger suplex. If you don't know what a tiger suplex is, you trap their arms around the back, and then you do a German suplex. It's nice and simple. It looks devastating. You don't see them very often. When you do, they're removed. In your mind's eye, you go, how the fuck do you fake that? Because you're coming down the back of your head, and there's no way to protect yourself because your arms are trapped. You know? Next, dragon suplex, also known as a full Nelson suplex. Full Nelson, completely butcher's lock, round the back, flip them over like a German suplex. That's why I'm saying they're very similar. Again, you put them down on top of the head, no way to protect yourself. Fantastic move. Number 1, though, and it's there's something to think about who likes science and psychology and all that. My favourite wrestling move should not be a reverse Rana, because it is. The reverse Rana, when they're done right, is one of the prettiest wrestling moves that you can do, and there's another one of those. It looks so fucking devastating. Add a top rope into the word reverse Rana. Top rope reverse Rana is the best. It is the best. The absolute best. In fact, just to annoy myself later on, look, here's a clip of reverse Rana off the top. You tell me if this is a pretty wrestling move.
Oh shit, reverse Rana! No!
It just is, isn't it? It just is. You can hear the tone of my voice, how much I'm loving that. And yeah, reverse Rana, fucking awesome. Cheers for questions, buddy, even if I couldn't answer the first one because it's very weirdly written. The Raven 361 says 2 questions. First one, who do you think, if some chance Undertaker says, okay, let's end the streak, who do you think should end it and why? And second, what do you think of the last few random pay-per-views in June, like Payback, Return of No Way Out, Fatal 4-Way? Do you think there should be a return of an old pay-per-view like I know you don't like King of the Ring, but that or Backlash or The Bash, instead of just a random pay-per-view taking up a month and then disappearing this year? Same with October and Battleground. Thank you, you rock! So the first one, I don't think the streak's ever gonna end. If they do end it, it's got to be someone who not only deserves it, but it will make that player. So if you're gonna end the streak, right? Say you're gonna end the streak, just for argument's sake, at WrestleMania 31, right? We know in concrete that at WrestleMania 31, the streak is gonna end, right? What they need to do is right this minute, they need to start building someone. They need to build this person slowly, so that when they get to WrestleMania 31, the people they've got to look at him like he's a legitimate threat to The Undertaker, but at the same time, he's not quite at a main event level. That win over The Undertaker will make that person's career jettison into the fucking orbit. That person will be over in an instant, because they're the person who ended the streak. It's like Jericho with beating The Rock and Stone Cold in one night. They'll be talking about that for decades. In the 10 years' time, Wrestler X will be saying, I may have lost the championship, but I'm still the guy who ended the streak. I can't say who. I can't say who it is. There is no one, in my opinion, who fits that bill. Regarding the pay-per-views, I don't actually think the name matters in some respects. I think traditionalists, want a Backlash or a King of the Ring or whatever. But, this doesn't really... I think the Survivor Series needs to be scrapped. There was outrage a couple of years ago when they tried to get rid of the Survivor Series, and it's just one of those things because it's not the Survivor Series anymore. You can throw in one traditional 5-on-5 if you really want to, but it's never going to have the magic that it had back in the day when it was a whole card of that, wasn't it? And you had people teaming up, and there would never ever normally be matches, and the matches took half an hour and were really boring. Survivor Series where a clothesline can get you pinned, for example, it doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, that's what makes it special. Anything could happen at Survivor Series. Now it's just another show, isn't it? Does anyone else agree with that one? Battleground. It's just another name. It doesn't really make much difference, does it? As long as they keep SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania, all the other ones are just interchangeable, aren't they? Neil McKay, who has an awesome. In fact, his picture yeah, is actually that, not my version of it. Also, his picture is the inspiration for that tattoo, believe it or not. Not because Neil had it, I saw it online, thought, that's my next tattoo, off we go. Have you ever watched the Vice documentary? It's called The British Wrestler, which is available on YouTube. Cheap plug, it is available on YouTube, go and look for it. Do you keep an happening? Do you keep what happens in insane championship wrestling, Scottish wrestling in general? Scottish wrestling in general, no. ICW, yes. Like as I said before, desperate to go up there, would love to see it. Grado is a person I would love to see. I first saw Grado on the Vice documentary, British Wrestler. I was going to say on the Vice, I didn't get on with it, but no, I just had to look down. No, it's not called that. On the British Wrestler. I remember seeing it, it was in a couple of parts when it was first uploaded. First time I ever saw Grado was there, and you just looked at him and went, God, that guy's entertaining. I want to see him. Really want to see him. And now Grado Mania has exploded. I feel fucking disgusted as a British wrestling fan to have never seen the guy, because he started making forays to England. He's at Southside. I think he's either wrestled or he's wrestling at Progress, for example, soon. Nowhere near here though. There's no one in the Northwest who's got Grado Mania yet. Trust me, I'll be there. Trust me on that one. Hey Mark, do you think WWE put on poor pay-per-views with Daniel Bryan in the main event on purpose? No. Why would they put on a shit pay-per-view on purpose? That would just be so stupid. It seems like that from TLC 2002 to Money in the Bank, WWE are putting on mostly solid pay-per-views. Then, starting with after SummerSlam, we have WWE putting on unadvertised matches with Fandango, Khali and Santino just to kill time, which they've been doing for years. Let's not kid ourselves on this one. Do you think WWE put on these matches kill momentum, make it harder for Bryan to get the crowd invested in these matches? Absolutely not. I can't understand. Think about it. This is a publicly traded company. If it was TNA, or I use TNA because they're a private company as an example, not just to bash on TNA. If it was TNA, they could do that if they really wanted to hurt their own company. A publicly traded company would never stand for it. They would never ever say, look, you're deliberately trying to make people turn off your show or not buy it. They wouldn't do that. That's an absolute. Like I say, if you just go back and read, listen to some of my reviews from last year. Unadvertised matches are all over the shop. It makes. I think they do it to make you think, oh my God, we're so lucky. We're getting this unadvertised match. Yeah, but in the 9 times out of 10, when it's Fandango or Great Khali or it's Santini, you just go, oh, for fuck's sake. But at the end of the day, WWE know that we need to have piss breaks. They know this. Can you sit down for 3 hours straight drinking fucking soda and not need a piss? We need something. We need to go outside for a cigarette, or we need to go and make a joint, or we need to go and get a fresh beer, or we need to go for a piss. They put matches in like the people. I've had such big arguments about this online. People don't believe these matches happen as piss breaks. They don't. And then people get insulted because I will say, like, for example, a Divas match is a piss break, because it is. I don't want to watch Divas. I have no interest in Divas at all. Every month of Future Shock, I see a women's match which is infinitely better than anything the Divas have done in years. Hey, what's just happened? Oh, fucking camera just stopped for no reason. So I'm going to assume I'm out of battery, memory, something. So I think at that, we will leave it there. Yeah, we were talking about piss breaks, so I think matches are piss breaks. I'll leave it with, I don't think WWE would ever try and deliberately sabotage one of their own pay-per-views. I think even WWE aren't that stupid. Ladies and gentlemen, so much more to come. I mean, so much more to come on this. I can see it being a 4-parter, this one, because, like I say, lots of questions to go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this part. Part 3 will be up soon, at some point. I don't know when. It's the truth. When I can. All right, how's that sound? I've been Mark P. This has been another Question Mark. And, yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Hit subscribe if you haven't. Hit like. Leave me a comment. If there's something that I've said that's made you think or that's made you go, I don't agree with that, please let me a comment. I do like getting comments. Really do. I've been Mark P. Take it easy and I'll see you all very soon. Thank you very much, guys.